Hello my pretties, Gormac back here again with an album review. This one is going to be interesting. This is for the new Deicide album called Overtures of Blasphemy. Now, first off, right off the hop, that is my album title of the year so far. That's awesome. So, I'm not a huge Deicide guy. I like their first two albums pretty much. The first album to me is a death metal classic. I haven't really paid much attention to Deicide the last 10-15 years, to be honest. This popped up on my radar a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm getting back. I'm into the heavier stuff now. Let's give this a listen, see if it's any good. Is it any good? Well, let me tell you the good stuff first. The good stuff. You can hear the vocals. You can actually understand a lot of what Glenn is singing about. And unlike with the Overkill Reviews review of this album, where they said that's a good and bad thing, I think it's just a good thing. Whether you like the lyrical content or not, that's irrelevant. You know what you're going to get with a Deicide record. You know that Glenn is going to talk shit about God and angels and heaven and all that, and you know that's what you're signing up for with a Deicide record. So, the other good stuff, I really like the guitar work on this album. There's a lot of interesting pieces. Some of the songs are like, there's a lot of songs on this record. Like, I'm just looking at the album on my phone here. There's 12 songs and it's only 37 minutes long. Favorite track is Compliments of Christ. I love that track. I love All That Is Evil. It's a decent record. They did a pretty good job. Now, the bad. I didn't like the drums on this album at all, just like the guys at Overkill Reviews. The drums were too samey, if that's even a word. It was just like, I know death metal drums are supposed to have that blast beat sound. This just sounded so
basic,
phoned in. That's the best way I could put the drums. The bass, I'm a bass player, so every album I listen to, I'm listening for the bass, and the bass on here is pretty good. There's some very interesting pieces with it, so overall, I'll give this album a 7 out of 10. It took a couple of listens for me to get to that score, actually. The first two listens, this album was a 5.5 or 6. But I've listened to it about 10 times now, and I have to say it grows on you. There are things about it, for me especially, that really are growing. I happen to like the lyrics on this album. There's a lot that is making sense to me here. There's a lot that they're saying, that Glenn is singing about, that I can understand what he's saying. So we're gonna give this album a 7 out of 10. So it's not a great album. It won't be in the top 20, that's for sure. Even with more listens, I don't think it'll climb much higher than maybe a 7.5. So it might crack that bottom tier of the top 25 albums if we're lucky. There's been a lot of good metal this year, and we still have to review the new Defiatory from Black Lion Records, which is coming up. That's the next review we do. So guys, Overtures of Blasphemy may not be album of the year, but it's album title of the year on the Gormac channel so far. So, as I say in all my videos, good to each other, keep your stick on the ice, Gormac out.